afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants event. My name is Lauren, and I'll be your host. Today, we have a great event for you in store. We are going live to the Toucan Rescue Ranch in Costa Rica, where they rescue and rehabilitate native wildlife, including sloths, toucans, parrots, owls, and more. Today is also a special day because it's the start of the Sloth Ironman Games, and I'm sure Daniel will tell us more about it. Hi, Daniel. We're so excited to be with you today and to meet some of the sloths.
Hello everyone. All right, so yeah, my name is Daniel. I'm going to be your tour guide for today. And yes, today is the start of the Sloth Ironman Games, but is the start of the Sloth Ironman Games because today we're celebrating International Sloth Day. So it's a perfect day to celebrate sloths. And today we're going to see three. One of them is really high up in the tree. We're going to see three baby sloths that we have with us. They're really sleepy right now, but I got some flowers and some leaves ready to wake them up a bit. So just a bit of background on myself and of Toucan Rescue Ranch. So I'm a biologist. I'm the education coordinator here in Toucan Rescue Ranch, and I'm also one of the sloth rehabbers alongside with my amazing co-workers from pretty much all over the world that they come here to Costa Rica. Toucan Rescue Ranch, we are a non-profit organization. We focus on the rescue, rehabilitation, and release to the animals, or rewilding of the animals, better said. So between 50 to 80% of all the animals that we received on a weekly basis, they're released or they're wilded back in the wild. That's our main purpose, and we couldn't do it without your support. So thank you so much for joining today. Now, at first, we were founded in 2004 by Leslie Howe. She's the founder of Toucan Rescue Ranch. She was born in the United States, but she got raised here in Costa Rica. And her goal at first was to only rescue birds and toucans in specific. But then we received Millie, our first sloth, in 2007. And since then, we have received hundreds and released hundreds of sloths. So without further ado, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to switch the camera so you guys can see what's in front of me. So just please give me 1 second. And oh no, there you go. Nope. Just give me 1 second. Sorry, guys. There you go. Okay, so now we're gonna see some of the babies. Sorry, we have some issues. There we go again. Sorry about that, guys. All right. So, like I said, sorry about that issue. Now we're gonna see some of the baby sloths. They're right here, by the way. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna go on the other side and I'm gonna give them these flowers that I have in my hand. So these ones are hibiscus flowers. They love them, by the way. It's kind of like chocolate for them. So just give me 1 second while I go to the other side. Okay, they're really sleepy, but hopefully these flowers will wake them up. Let's see. Let's put one flower over here. Oop. All right. So the sloths, they are herbivores. It just fell. There they are. So the sloths are herbivores. That means that they eat a lot of leaves. Pretty much the whole diet consists of pretty much that, leaves. And also flowers, as you can see right now. Um, in Costa Rica, we have two different species of sloths. We have the two-fingered and the three-fingered sloth. This one is the most common of all the sloths that we have in Costa Rica. It doesn't mean that the other one is not rare or something like that. It's just that these guys, you can pretty much find them pretty much all over the country. Most of the people, when they think of Costa Rica, they think of like beaches and really warm weather, which Yeah, a lot of cases that's true. But in Costa Rica, we also have a fairly big, obviously compared to the size of the country, big mountain range. They can reach all the way up to 12,000 feet above sea level. These guys, they can live up to 10,000 feet above sea level. So they can live in really warm, humid areas to a bit colder areas, but the temperatures can go around 40, 50 degrees Fahrenheit. The three-finger sloth, the one that you probably see in Zootopia with the smile and the eye mask, not so much. Those guys, they most of the time you will find them in the lowlands. But these guys, they're an exception to that rule. Now, the sloths, they're really slow, basically because of their diet. So what they eat is leaves. So we call these sloths herbivores. That means that 90%, 90 to 95% of the diet will consist of leaves. The other 5 to 10% will consist of flowers, sometimes insects, other birds' eggs as well. But most of the time, they will eat a lot of leaves. And that is what makes them really slow. Imagine that you guys that you only eat lettuce, and then that's it. Obviously, our bodies are not designed for that, but you will get really weak. So these guys, they don't get a lot of energy from the food that they get that is leaves. So they're not lazy. They're just energy efficient. They're trying to save as much energy as they possibly can. And that's another reason why they love flowers so much, because flowers are a really good source of sugar and a good source of like energy. And that's what they need. Now, that being said, the sloths can get really, really, really fast if they need to. They'd rather not to, but they can be really fast. For example, I'm going to give you an example. Let's say that we have a sloth right there, and that sloth wants to cross all the way over there. It can if he's really, really fast, it can take easily 5 to 10 seconds. When a three-finger sloth, it would take him probably 3 times that. So they can get really fast, and most importantly, they can be really aggressive. So the people that work with the sloths, we need to be really careful around them because they have those claws that are really sharp, but also they have teeth. Obviously, they're not showing us right now, but those teeth are extremely sharp. They're sharp as a knife, and they will bite you, especially if you're bothering them or disturbing them or making them angry. That's pretty much the defensive mechanism. When you get bitten by a baby sloth, it hurts, but it's not a huge deal. But when you get bitten by an adult sloth, it's no joke because they have so much bacteria on their teeth that it's really likely that they will give you an infection. So you will get really sick. Just to give you an example, almost a year ago, we had an intern that got bitten by an adult sloth. It was an accident, and accidents happen all the time. And she had to go to the hospital, and her hand got really, really big because she had an infection. So that definitely proves that these guys are not pet materials. If you ever go to an aqua rescue center or a zoo where they let you touch them or pet them, please don't, because not only they can not be nice to you, even if they're domesticated, but also they can get really stressed. So I'm gonna do an activity, and obviously I won't be able to tell until the end. But I'm gonna do something that I usually don't. But let's see how it works. So the teachers at the end, they're gonna give me the results of this game that we're gonna do now. So the sloths, they can move their faces. They can have face expressions. So let's test who is a sloth in the group and who's a human. So if you guys can go ahead and you can let me know at the end, um, go ahead right now and try to look confused. Try to make a face expression like you look really confused. All right. And now try to make a face expression like you're really mad. Like your dad or your aunt or your friend promised you a chocolate bar and they didn't give you that chocolate bar. So you're really disappointed. You're really mad. And now imagine that they give you that chocolate bar. So try to think something happy and make a really, really happy face. All right. Well, if you guys were able to do all of that, there's a really high chance that you're not a sloth. Uh, by the way, we have Kairos trying to get this flower. There you go, buddy. So the sloths, whenever they get confused, whenever they get mad, or whenever they get happy, they will not make the face expressions that you probably guys did. So if you touch them, they're gonna be smiling. And I always give the example like, if you guys have any pets like dogs or cats or even like a bunny or like a guinea pig, and let's say that in non-pandemic times, you open the door of your house and you let 30 people come in into your home, and they will pay you so they can touch and pet your cat or guinea pig, bunny or dog. At the end of the day, um, your pet is going to be really, really, really stressed, right? Well, it's pretty much almost the same principle with sloths. Whenever they get really stressed, they don't show it that like that. They always will have this cute and adorable smile that they have. So a thing that we can do to help the sloths is to avoid going to places where they let you touch them, because sadly that way we can encourage people to have them as pets. And like I mentioned before, the sloths can be really aggressive, and people that have them as pets, they usually realize in probably a week or less than a week that is a terrible idea, because then they get bitten, they get scratched, and also they're really delicate. They're really susceptible to diseases, and their diet is really specific when they're babies. When they're babies, like these guys, or like slash teenagers now, we give them milk, but we do not give them cow's milk, because cow's milk can be really dangerous. They can get diarrhea from cow's milk. So instead, we give them goat's milk, and sometimes we will mix goat's milk with a dash of Pedialyte. So whenever you get, for example, like diarrhea or nausea, and so you get Pedialyte to stay hydrated again, we do the exact same thing for these guys. So we just dilute it a bit with goat's milk, and then we use a syringe. We don't use a bottle, and that is because these sloths, they're not used to drink water like we are. Like we can chug a lot of water. We can get a lot of water in our stomachs really, really fast, especially when it's really warm and we're really thirsty. These guys, they don't. Most of their water intake, they will get it from leaves directly. So they're not used to drink big amounts of liquid. So if we give them the milk in a bottle, most likely they're gonna bronchoaspirate, which means that the milk will go to the lungs, and that can be fatal. So we use a syringe, and we're really, really, really careful. So we push little by little and really small amounts, so that way they don't get sick. And also when we feed them, we put them in buckets. So we put them in a bucket, and then we feed them directly on the bucket. That way we don't have any contact with them. Now, these guys are orphans. I don't know if I mentioned this already, but these guys, they come here because their moms get electrocuted, or sometimes they get electrocuted from power lines. They also get hit by cars, and sadly, they also get attacked by dogs. So when they go to the bathroom that is on the base of the tree, they get attacked, or they get run over sadly by some cars. So another great way that you can do to help the sloths is that if you're ever in Costa Rica, and if you see a sloth crossing the road, tell your dad or mom or whoever is with you to stop the car and just wait. Remember, do not ever touch a sloth. They can bite you. So it's better to always wait for that sloth to cross, even though people are going to be behind you and they're going to be honking at you and everything, just being really desperate because they want to continue. But it's better to just wait 5 minutes for the sloth to cross than a sloth getting run over, right? So we receive these babies, and just like you guys, they need to go through school. So they go through different phases. They go through preschool, then they go to elementary, then they go to high school, and then they go to university, and that is when they graduate. And that is when we release them back in the wild. These guys, if everything goes well, are going to be sent to our rewilding site next Monday. They've been with us for almost a year, between 8 months to 12 months. So they've been with us for quite a while now. And now they're going to be sent to our rewilding site. They're going to stay there for about 6 months, probably a bit less, probably a bit more. And then they're going to be in the wild. They're going to be released back in the wild where they belong. So it's a really, really, really slow process. I mean, the sloths, but yeah. Now, something also really interesting about the sloths is that their stomachs and the digestive system is huge. It can take, like a stomach, it can take up to 55, even sometimes 65% of their body. So sometimes when you see a sloth, it looks like that sloth might be fat, but there's really, really high chances that it's not fat. It just bloated. It has a lot of gas and poo. So they only go to the bathroom once a week. And sometimes they can even hold it and they can go to the bathroom once every 2 weeks, which is really impressive. And they do that for two reasons. The first one is because the digestive system is really slow. For them to digest one meal, it would take them around 1 month. So it takes them a really, really long time. But also going to the bathroom that is on the base of the tree, like right there, is really dangerous because that's where you can find most of the predators. For example, a jaguar, an ocelot. You can also find dogs, humans, coyotes. You can also find opossums, snakes. So many predators can attack them when they are on the ground. When they're up in the tree, they're crawling a ball camouflage with some algae and moss that helps them perfectly. But when they're on the ground, they're exposed. So that's the reason why they don't go to the bathroom that often, because the digestive system is really slow, and also because it's really dangerous. Keep in mind that the stomach is divided in three chambers, so it's huge. The stomach is huge. Um, so that's really, really, really interesting. Also, when they do this, that is hanging from the trees like that, they don't make a lot of effort, to be honest. Their claws are designed to stay in place, so it kind of works as a lock. So when they put their claws around the branch, it's kind of like a lock closing. They don't make any effort or almost any effort by hanging. Sometimes you will see them hanging upside down with just their legs. And sometimes we think like, oh my god, if that was a human, they would have amazing abs. But no, not with these guys. They're really, really good at hanging. So they rarely fall from the trees. And that is because they're designed to be on the trees. And another interesting thing about the sloths is that their eyesight is not really well. It's not really developed, and it's because they're nocturnal. They sleep during the day and they stay active during the night. They are not predators, so they don't need to see. They just need to smell their way around and hear their way around. So they smell the flowers, they smell the leaves, they smell other sloths, and they will hear things happening around the forest, and they will hear predators that are around. So sometimes, I mean, they do see, but it's not like in full detail like we do. So that's the reason why also sloth rehabbers or people that work with sloths, we cannot put any strong perfumes or any, like, for example, insect repellents or that kind of stuff, because their sense of smell is really, really sensitive. So we need to be really careful with that as well. So if you ever go in the rainforest, try to put some insect repellent inside of the van or inside of your car or away from any trees, and try to use a sunscreen that really doesn't have any smells or any strong smell. And this applies not only in Costa Rica, but also to any forest of the US. Remember that the smells that we use or the products that we use can be quite detrimental for the wildlife that is around us, including birds. So when you go to the rainforest, make sure that you don't have any strong perfumes on. And also a really nice thing that if you want to go to the forest and see some wildlife, even if you come down to Costa Rica, is try to wear clothes that are not really bright. For example, like bright yellow, like bright red, because that will scare animals away, especially birds. Even sloths are not going to be able to see the red, but if you live in the U.S., then that could be a good thing. So like trying to use brown colors or dark green colors, those are great ways to go to the rainforest or to the forest and see some animals. Um, so yeah. Now I don't know if you. Well, yeah. So now I'm gonna finish my part. So if you guys have questions that I'm sure you do, please feel free to let our host know. And yeah, so now we can open the space for a Q&A about this. Oh no, sorry, before I forget. So today we're celebrating. I totally forgot about this. Sorry. Today we're celebrating the start or the beginning of the Sloth Our Mind Games. So what are the Sloth Our Mind Games? Well, it's a fundraiser pretty much. And what we do is that we try to raise as much funds as we possibly can to use the money for release or rewilding of these guys back in the wild. And how does it work? Well, these guys they will compete in 4 different competitions. So they will compete in competitions that we call hibiscus eat off. So that means that the fastest sloth that eats the flower wins. Then we also have the poop off challenge, the 1 meter dash, and we also have the strong sloth game. Those are going to premiere this weekend and today at 1 p.m. Costa Rican time. Just so you guys can have a reference, right now it's 10:24 in here. At 1 p.m., we're going to have the sloth leads reveal. So you guys are going to be able to see who is going to participate this year. And if you vote for your favorite sloth, that's $1. So every vote counts, and every vote will make a huge difference on helping these guys. So if you, as a classroom, want to support one of the sloths that we'll reveal today, I cannot tell you right now. But if you are, let's say, I'm gonna make up a name. If you're a fan of Lala, that was a competitor of last year, then you guys as a classroom you can vote to Lala, or like that. But again, the sloth lead reveal is gonna happen at 1 p.m. Costa Rican time. So stay tuned on our social media and on Instagram and Facebook. We are gonna be releasing these who are gonna be the sloth leads this year at 1 p.m. All right. So now, if you guys have any questions, we can go ahead and start the Q&A.
Wow, Daniel, that was incredible. I can't believe how much we just learned about sloths. I had no idea that their stomach took up 55% of their body and that they can actually be really fast. This is very cool. So we have a lot of great questions in the YouTube chat, and classrooms can ask their questions now too. So let's add Miss Kaufman to the group chat or to the live stream. There we go. Miss Kaufman's class, do you have a question?
Hi, how are you?
Hello.
We would like to know if we have 2, but we'll start with 1. Grayson, what was your question? How long do sloths live for?
Ooh, that's a good question. So it will depend on the sloth. For example, this one that is a 2-fingered, they can live for up to 30 years. And the 3-fingered, the one that you probably have seen in Zootopia, they can live for 15 years.
Wow, fascinating. Okay, Miss Barber's class, do we have a question? Hi, Miss Barber's class.
Hello.
Hey everyone, hello.
We do have a question. How do you tell if they are male or female?
Good one. So again, this will depend on the sloth. For example, with the 2-finger sloth, that is this one that we're watching right now, is really difficult because you actually will have to look at their genitals. So if they have a little volcano, then that means that it's a male. If they don't have a volcano, that is a female. But with the 3-finger sloths, the one that you probably have seen in Zootopia, the males, they have a really distinctive black line on their back. And right around that line, it looks like the hair was shaved. So the hair is shorter. And so you can easily identify it if you're on the ground and you see a sloth up in the tree. But if you encounter one of these guys in the wild, especially if they're really high up, it's going to be really, really difficult to identify them. That's a really good question, by the way. Thank you.
Very good question. Madame Lewis's class. If you have a question, go ahead.
Hi, we have a question from our friend Aiden. He wants to know, can the babies climb?
Oh yes, they can. They're really, really good climbers. So just give me 1 second because I think that we might be able to. No. So yes, the babies can climb when they're newborn. Let's say like a month or so. They're not really good climbers. It's kind of like babies trying to walk, right? So they will start to crawl and they will stay in their buckets, or at least here when they're with us. When they're with the moms, what they would do is that they would stay with like on their mom, like on her belly or on her back. And then once they reach about 3 months old, then they will start to explore around the mom, super close, and then they'll start climbing. So yeah, they'll start climbing when they're about 3 to 4 months old, probably even sooner than that, like 2 months.
Great question. Miss Reed's class, go ahead.
Hi, we have a question from our friend Ben here.
So, are sloths endangered? That's my first question, by the way.
Okay, so you have two questions. All right. So regarding your first question, Ben, no, they're not. Technically, that doesn't mean that they don't have a lot of threats. They do. Like we mentioned, power lines, people hitting them with cars, other people taking them as pets. But no, thankfully, they're not endangered.
But wait, but if they were endangered, would you be able to save them all? Yes.
That's a good question and an vicious one. Well, I don't think that we, as Toucan Rescue Ranch, we will be able to save them all. But as a collective, like if we get all the organizations around the world and we protect them, and also we as humans, so we all get together as a community and start reforesting and planting trees, yeah, we might. But thankfully, we have not reached that point.
Thank you.
Sure thing. Good questions, by the way. Good job.
Very good question.
We have Helga over here.
Miss Colburn's class. Hi.
Battle for territory?
Do you have any questions? Sorry, what's that?
If sloths battle for territory, do sloths battle for territory?
Oh, sorry, buddy. I cannot. We apparently. I don't know. There's a problem with the audio. I cannot hear you really well.
You know, if sloths battle for territory.
Okay, let's see if I understood that. If they care about toys.
Battle for territory.
Oh, you're asking if they fight.
For territory.
Oh, for territory. Yes, they do. Yes. Yeah, they do. Boy, they do. They're really, really aggressive. As like females, they will not get into fights, but males, they will get into fights between each other for a female that might be around. And you can look it up on YouTube later. It's incredible. You might think that, oh my God, it's a sloth fight. It would take years for them to finish. It takes a few minutes sometimes because they're so fast and aggressive towards each other. And then the bigger sloth is usually, as it is in the wild, the bigger animal, the stronger animal will win the fight. So when we think of sloth fighting, we would think of a really slow fight, but no, it's incredible. So I definitely encourage you to guys look for a video. Sorry, I don't have a video right now to show you guys. But yeah, like there's a video going around, and this was recorded in Costa Rica of two sloths fighting, and at the end, the sloth that won basically just threw the other sloth to the ground from the branch. So yeah, it's kind of like a battle of the titans, slow titans.
Great question. And we're going to take one from Miss Morin's class.
Your mic is muted. There you go.
How do baby sloths come?
Like how are they? Oh, okay, perfect. So here's how they come to the world. So the mom they will give birth to the baby on the trees. They don't go to the ground, nothing. You know that when we're born, we have umbilical cords, right? That's our belly button. Well, there's what usually happens is that when the moms give birth to a baby sloth, the baby will fall, and then it will be hanging from the mom from the umbilical cord. So then the mom will start to pull that cord, and once she gets the baby, she will put the baby on her back or on her chest. But they give birth on the trees, like up in the air, which is crazy. That's a really good question. Good job.
Very good questions, everyone. So there's so many YouTube questions. Let's start with Janice. How many sloths have you rescued?
Ooh, I don't have an exact number, but I was definitely, with a lot of confidence, I would say hundreds. Yeah, loads of them. Over the past few years, of course.
Here's another good question. What is the life cycle of a sloth?
So these guys, they reproduce pretty much every year or every 2 years. So really, really, really simplified. When they're born, when they reach 2 years of that's when they get to adulthood. Then they start to reproduce. Then they have babies every 2 years, and then they will die when they're about, depending on the sloth, like I mentioned, 30 years or 15 years. So it's really simple. Normally, what they would do, like in the wild, they just eat, sleep, and rest, and repeat. Eat, sleep, and rest, and repeat. So yeah, hopefully I answer your question.
Let's take another one. Here's one from Sabrina. Do male and female sloths look different?
So I answered this one before, but yeah, it would depend. So for example, with the three-finger sloths, they will have that black stripe on their back, the males. But with the two-finger sloths, you will have to look at their at their genitals, and that's pretty much how you can tell them apart. But since they're usually really high up in the trees and they're like in a ball, it's really, really hard to tell them apart unless you get really close to them.
All right, we still have a few more minutes, so I'm going to go through the classes again and see if they have any more questions. Miss Kaufman's class, do you have any more questions?
Sure, we have a lot, but we're going to go with one. Why do sloths only go to the bathroom at the bottom of the tree instead of in the tree?
That's a good one. So I'm actually now wondering what other questions you guys have. So that's a good one. So they go to the base of the tree because if they go right where they are, let's say, I don't know, right there where that one is, and they poop and they don't see that there's a predator going around, the predator will look up, and that's it. Boom, game over. But when they go to the base of the tree, there's less chances because the tree will divide in multiple branches. So for the predator, when the predator finds that poop, it will be really difficult. But also, we believe that they go to the base of the tree to complete the life cycle of the moths and beetles. So remember when I talked that they have moths and beetles on their fur? Well, the moths and beetles, they will lay their eggs on the poop of the sloth. Then the eggs will hatch, they will have larvae, and then the larvae, they will transform or metamorphosize in the moth, and then the moth will fly towards the sloth hair. So we believe that it's also part of a symbiotic relationship. So not only to not get attacked, but also apparently for the beetles and the moths.
Wow, that was amazing. Okay, Miss Reed's class, do you have any questions?
Is it fun to work at the ranch?
Sorry?
Is it fun to work at the ranch?
Is it fun?
Yes.
Oh boy, it is the most fun thing to do that you can ever do. I have fun every single day, even when I get bitten or scratched or attacked by an animal. Still fun and also it's super rewarding because we're saving these animals. And again, we wouldn't be able to do this if it wasn't for you guys. So it wouldn't be fun if it wasn't for you. So yes, it's incredibly fun and amazing to work in a rescue center. I definitely recommend it.
Excellent question. Mrs. Colburn's class, do you have any more questions?
Are sloths smart?
Not really. They're not. No. Simple answer, no, they're not. They just know where to find their food, and that's pretty much it. But no, no, they're not. They're not like, obviously, we cannot compare ourselves with a parrot, but just to give you an example, parrots, for example, and parakeets, they can have the intelligence equivalent to a 4-year-old. Sloths, we cannot even compare to humans. They're not really smart. Hey, they go. He was grabbing the camera.
Wow. Okay, Miss Morin's class. Do you have any more questions? Oh, you're muted.
Oh, there you go.
How much they can eat?
Oh boy, they can.
I might have missed Miss Barber's class. Do you have any more questions?
Go ahead, Levi.
How old can sloths get?
So these guys, they can get as old as 30 years old, and then the three-finger sloths, 15 years old. So there's quite a big difference between them.
Wow. Okay, we are running out of time, so I'm just gonna take one more YouTube question. How about from Donna? When do the babies leave their mom?
So they will leave their mom about 1 year and a half, about 2 years. So they will stay with the mom on the chest or on her back for about 8 months to a year. Then we have run her mom for another 6 years, and then we'll leave. If the baby doesn't want to leave, the mom will make the baby leave. So it will just hiss at the baby, and then the baby will be like, well, I guess I gotta go. And then they go by themselves. These guys are solitary. So they don't live in groups, they don't live close to each other. So the moms just basically tell them, well, you gotta go and find an apartment. That for them, it will be the equivalent of a tree. So go and find a tree on your own and start your life.
That was a great question. You know what? Let's take one more. If that's all right with you. Jen says,
yeah, sure.
What other animals are sloths related to?
Good one as well. So the sloths are not related to a lot of animals. They're kind of like on their own, but the animals are mostly related to are armadillos and anteaters. So those are the two species that they're the most related to. But sloths evolved really differently. By the way, now that I just that you guys mentioned about that, and I just remember about evolution, I just wanted to mention a really interesting fact before I forget. If you guys like avocados, well, we have avocados because of these guys. The ancestors of the sloths, they were huge. They were as big as elephants in the Ice Age, and they were the ones that were pretty much distributing or dispersing the avocados. Because you've seen the seed of an avocado. It's so big, right? Only animals that were that big were able to spread them across the Americas. And then when we humans started to take over, we killed these guys, and then these guys were the ones that survived, and they're the ones that we see today. Obviously, we don't have any sloths of the size of an elephant, but whenever you eat avocado again, think about a sloth. It's thanks to the sloths that we have avocados. So thank you for that question, because that reminded me of that.
Wow, I had no idea. I love avocados, and I'm going to remember that the next time I have one.
There you go. Sloth avocado.
This was so fascinating today. Thank you for joining us, Daniel, and telling us all about the sloths. And everyone, remember to check out the Sloth Ironman Games and to cast your votes in. This has been incredible. Thank you so much, Daniel.
Thank you so much, guys. It was a pleasure. And yes, tune in for the Sloth Ironman Games. And yeah, stay in touch and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining. I'm sure that the sloths, although they cannot see the camera very well, I'm sure that they're thankful as well.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.